everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you all of the books that I've been buying recently. I've been just on an uncontrollable book buying streak at the minute, and I'm lucky enough also to have found some really good books in charity shops, and I've been sent some books from publishers. So today I'm going to go through this massive pile of books, show you what I've got recently, and then hopefully you can tell me if you've read any of these books, if you recommend them, where I should start, what I should read first, what I shouldn't even bother reading. So I can't remember the order in which I got these books either, so we're going to go in a very randomized order, but I do remember which ones were charity shop finds, so maybe we'll start with those. These are two of my newest acquisitions. I got these a couple of days ago when I went to my local charity shop that always has honestly the best selections. And the first one that I found, which I'm really excited by, is another Claire Keegan. If you've been watching my channel recently, you know that I've been really enjoying Claire Keegan's books, and I've been meaning to pick up this book, which is Small Things Like These. This is one of the ones that I have not read yet, and I think it's one of her most popular ones. Lots of people have only read this one and really enjoyed it. Also, I just love getting these ones in charity shops because they're so skinny, and I just feel like I don't actually want to pay like 10 or 11 pounds for this book, but I do like the way they look, and I also really end up enjoying these books. So this was Booker Prize shortlisted actually in 2022, and I got this book for £2.50. One annoying thing is my charity shop has recently increased all of its book prices. It used to be like £1.50, £1.75, occasionally £2, and now most of them are £2.50, and you very occasionally only get them like for cheaper than that. I mean, it's not a lot, like, and I'm glad that like the charity shop is getting more money, but it's just kind of like, it's just a sign of the times, isn't it? Everything goes up to £2.50, and I know that, I also think probably charity shop prices in London are more expensive. I think that you could probably get it for a lot less than this, but I can't complain because it has a great selection. So Claire Keegan is an Irish writer, and I think all her books do take place in Ireland, and this book is following a man called Bill in the run-up to Christmas, who is a coal and timber merchant. So I'm really excited. I think I will read this in the run-up to Christmas because I love doing that with seasonal books. And I didn't quite realise that this was like a wintry book, but it does make sense. Like the cover is actually like this winter landscape. But I always really enjoy these. They're beautifully written, they're kind of like quiet and reflective, but like really pack a punch, Claire Keegan's books. So I'm super happy that I found this in a charity shop. So that's the first book that I got. And then on the same trip, I also found this book, which is Ali Smith's Spring, and I have never read an Ali Smith book, but I've heard so much about them, and especially about this series of books that are spring, autumn, winter, summer, and I can't actually remember which one is first. I think maybe spring is first, which is why I bought this one. But I think that these are set during like the fallout of Brexit happening in the UK, and you're following a few different characters. I've just heard the best things about these books. They're also just absolutely stunning. I love the way that they look. I don't know whether I'm going to wait until spring to read this. That could be kind of fun, or if I just want to read it a lot sooner than that. But this one I got for £2.50 as well, so that's a pretty good little charity shop book haul, especially because I didn't go in there looking to buy books. I went in looking for something for my Halloween costume. Happy Halloween, by the way, if you are watching this on Halloween. Next up, I'll just show you this very random book that I picked up. I accidentally like stumbled my way into this sci-fi book convention. I was actually at a completely different event. I was at my cousin's hen do, which was so much fun. But where we were, there was a science fiction convention going on. This is actually one of the bookmarks that I got from that sci-fi convention, so you can probably read some information on it there. But just as often happens when I'm out and about, I just stumble into a place that is giving away books or people are selling books, and I always come away with books. So even though I was on my cousin's hen do, I did come away with a book because they were giving them away for free, and I didn't have too much time to like really dig in and see what was interesting, so I kind of just picked on vibes. And the book that I ended up picking up was this one called Voyage of the Damned, and I think this is an ARC copy. This came out earlier this year in January. So this is a sci-fi book. Basically, I think it's a closed door mystery though, with these 12 different people, heirs from important different houses in the universe, and then when one of the heirs dies, it's up to an unlikely hero to try and solve the mystery. So if you've heard anything about this book, then please let me know, because I literally have never heard of it before and I just randomly picked it up on a whim. I haven't even looked at the Goodreads page for it actually, which I really should. But yeah, I kind of just went off vibes. I like the idea of the closed door mystery in space. And I also just quite like the cover, so did really judge that based on the cover. Next up, another book that I think I got from a charity shop, but I got this a while ago now and I've actually forgotten where I got it from, but it is secondhand. And that book is Hurricane Season by Fernanda Melchor. Is that how you say her name? So this is another of the Fitzcarraldo editions, and honestly, these books have never let me down. This publisher is excellent. Everything I've read from there is just been so good. And I feel like I really recognize this author's name, and she's a Mexican writer, and I'm not sure if I've actually read any of her books before, but I definitely recognize her name. But I've heard a lot about this book. I've heard that it's really incredible. So this book starts when a group of children find the witch of the village to be dead, and it takes place in this very poor village where people are trying to figure out how and why this murder happened. I'm really excited about this. I've heard a lot about this author's writing style, so I'm very intrigued, and like I said, these editions have never let me down. So that's the next one. Next up, let's go through a few books that I have been lucky enough to be sent by publishers. Firstly, let's talk about one of my favourite publishers, which is Charco Press, and they have sent me this new book that I believe has just come out called The Plains by Federico Falco, who is an Argentinian writer. So this is also translated. Most of Charco Press's books, or all of them I believe, are also translated. And the description of this one sounds really mysterious. I'm not entirely sure what this book is about, other than it being about this man and this garden that he is creating or living in, where it seems that time kind of slows down and doesn't move. I love books that are really steeped in nature and the natural world. It sounds like this is going to be like that. So I'm very excited for this one as well. That is The Plains. Next up, I was sent this book, which is the new Alex Feeny book called Beautiful Ugly. Oops, just realized there is a postcard in this. So this book actually comes out in January, I think the 30th of January. And I do really like this cover. If you see it really up close, you can see there's this tear that says "Read Me." So this book is about an author who calls his wife to give some really good news while she's in the car, and then he hears her get out of the car, and then when he finds the car, she's just disappeared off the face of the earth. And then you skip a year forward and he is still desperate to find out what happened to his wife. And he travels to this remote Scottish island, and there he sees a woman who looks remarkably similar to his wife. I'm really excited for this one. I usually really like to read thrillers like over the winter period for some reason, so I think I will get to this one quite soon. And if you have any other recommendations from this author, then please let me know. She'd also done Rock Paper Scissors, which is the other one I think I would recognize, but let me know what you think and if I should prioritize that one soon. Next up, I had a delivery from another one of my favorite publishers, which is Orbit, and they do some really amazing fantasy books. I got sent this book recently, which looks amazing. This is called Greenteeth. So this is actually a debut, and I think that this comes out in February. So this book is all about this monster that lurks in this deep dark lake. The monster is called Greenteeth, and then when a mob from a nearby village throws a woman accused of being a witch into the lake, Greenteeth decides to save her, and they form an unlikely kind of alliance. This book sounds so much fun. This is the postcard that was sent. So it's got found family, lovable monsters, witchcraft, fae, folklore, magical trials, and cozy vibes, which is just so up my alley. I'm definitely going to be reading this really soon. I love the cover, obviously, it's a bit of me. And the quote on the front is from T. Kingfisher, who I absolutely adore their books. So I feel like this one is going to be right up my street. I'm really, really excited for this. So that is Greenteeth by Molly O'Neill. And then next up, another book that I was so happy to be sent because it's been Booker shortlisted is Creation Lake. I've heard so much about this book recently. It has just got so much buzz on social media, on Bookstagram and BookTok, everywhere I've seen this. And obviously I am trying to read a lot of the Booker shortlist as well. And out of the remaining ones that I haven't read, I think this one sounds most up my alley as well. This one sounds so much fun, actually. It's kind of a spy novel. You are following a secret agent as she is trying to infiltrate this cult of eco-activists. And so while she's trying to infiltrate this cult with this very charismatic cult leader, then she kind of finds herself being seduced by quite a lot of what's going on. People have said that this is quite funny, and I just feel I'm going to read it like incredibly quickly. I think that this is going to be exciting, plot heavy. I'm really excited to read this one, and I'm going to read this very, very soon because I want to try and read it before the Booker Prize winner is announced, which I actually do not know when that's announced. I need to double check that and try and read this before that I can do some predictions of what I want to win. So that one is Creation Lake, and that was sent to me very kindly by Vintage, so thank you so much, Vintage. Next, let's move on to the books that I have bought myself. So this is a quite large pile, considering that I'm supposed to be not spending money on books, but some of these I did get very cheap. but let's just go through them. See, I went to this bookshop with my friend Alice that was all the books in there were 2 for £7. There wasn't an absolutely huge selection, but there was like a lot more than you'd see in a charity shop usually. And I think it's in like an old HMV, like it looked like an old like HMV style shop. It was called Fop Books and it was really good. So I ended up getting 2 books because of course you have to get 2 books when they're 2 for £7. And the 2 that I ended up getting were Perfume and The Bloody Chamber. So let's talk about The Bloody Chamber first. I thought that this would be perfect for this time of year. This is one of the vintage editions. This is a collection of short stories and I believe that they're all kind of takes on original fairy tales and myths like Red Riding Hood, Beauty and the Beast, and there's like vampires and werewolves and everything in there, which just sounds so up my street and I'm really excited about this. I need to take this sticker off because it's marring this beautiful cover. I really enjoy this cover because this is like I think Red Riding Hood on the front like this. I took that off badly, but I love short stories, but I especially love creepy, kind of scary short stories. Let me know if you've read this one. I'm really excited for it. And the second one that I got was Perfume, and this is a book that I've been kind of scared of reading for a long time. There's loads of really cool editions of this book, but I really enjoyed this one that I had not seen before. These are the Penguin's Essentials editions, and basically this is about a man in 18th century France. This is a French novel, and he lives on the streets. He's been abandoned, but he realizes that he has like a supernatural sense of smell, and he is incredibly obsessed with smell. So he decides that he has to make the perfect perfume, but to make this perfect perfume, he's missing this one ingredient, which involves him killing people. So I think this is really incredibly creepy. I heard that it's very strange and disturbing, so I'm kind of nervous to read this. The tagline is The Story of a Murderer. But yeah, I do really absolutely love this cover of these women lying in these clouds. So I'm excited to read this, but I'm also nervous. I'm probably not going to read this year. I might save this for like next spooky season, unless you all tell me that I absolutely need to read it like right now, then maybe I will. So the next book that I picked up, I've actually already read because it was the book club pick for the month of October for the Reading Around the World book club. If you want to join the book club, we read a different book from a different country every single month, and we've just decided the book and the country that we'll be doing for next month, so you can click the link. It's always in my description if you want to join the book club. It's really fun, and now is a good time to start because we'll just be starting our next book very soon. But this month's book was The Pearl Thief, and the country that we did in October was Bahrain. So this is a really tiny, it's like 30 pages long story about a very poor Bahraini man who loses his job and then decides that the only way that he can support himself and his family is to become a pearl diver, but he can't actually swim. As I've said, I've actually already read this and I will wait to talk about it in my wrap-up video. I'm also not incredibly impressed with the edition that I did buy. It's one of those like random ones from Amazon. Like the print is like not great in this and it's very, I don't know, very cheaply made, but I do like to have a physical copy of every book that we read for the book club because I like to have them all in a stack of like the order in which we've read them, which is really fun. But yeah, that is The Pearl Thief. Next up, I picked up a book while I was out shopping with my friend Alice, and she absolutely forced this book into my hands and I had no choice but to buy it because it's one of her favorite books, and I'm excited that I got it, and I'm glad for the encouragement that she gave me to finally pick up this book, and that book is The Biography of X by Catherine Lacy. I've read one book before by Catherine Lacy. I read Pew and I really enjoyed it. It wasn't one of my absolute favorites, but I really did enjoy the way that it was written, and Alice has told me so much about this book, but it just sounds like the most unique book ever. The Biography of X is basically this woman who is left a widow after her partner X passes away. She decides to write a biography of her life, of this woman that she worships, but people have said it's like philosophical, it's political, it's like a thriller, it's a dystopian, so I have no idea like what I'm really going to get into in this book, but I trust Alice's taste completely, and I know that whatever it'll be written incredibly, and we also do have, usually most of the time, incredibly similar tastes, so I do feel like this could be a potential new favourite. But let me know if you've read this one. I'm very excited, and also this cover is growing on me. We were both like very obsessed by the US hardcovers, or like maybe just the hardcovers. You can't get them in the UK, but they just look amazing, and then this one, like, we were quite disappointed in the cover, but it's actually really growing on me. I quite enjoy this. But yeah, that is Biography of X. And then next up is a few books that I recently picked up in a book buying vlog, so if you've seen that you might already know these books, but I'll go through them quickly anyway if you haven't seen that vlog. Firstly, I picked up What You Are Looking For Is in the Library, and I was kind of umming and ahhing whether to get this book or not. It was one of the ones on like the buy one get one half price table, but in the end I really did want to. I think like sometimes I don't enjoy these types of Japanese books when I feel that they can be a little bit stark. This one is all about a librarian, and she is basically able to sense exactly what every single person coming to her library is looking for in a book and like recommend them the perfect book. And that is one of my personal missions in life that I love to do, is recommending people the perfect book. So I do feel like this one will actually be really good. And I hope that I actually get some book recommendations from this as well. That would be really ideal. And I do just love this cover. It's absolutely adorable. Let me take this sticker off now. So let me know if you've read this one. I think this is a huge bestseller in Japan and also over here. I've seen it a lot. Just the reason I was kind of like hesitant is like I don't love books like When the Coffee Gets Cold, or like the something bookshop ones, or the Kamigawa restaurant ones. Like I don't love any of those. So maybe it was a bit idiotic of me to buy this one, but I'm hoping that this one's going to be the one that like bucks that trend. So that is that book. This stack is going to fall over soon. The other one that I got on the half price table was the newest Eliza Clark book, or not newest soon, because she's coming out with a new book called She's Always Hungry, that looks incredible, and I might try and get sent that one as well when it comes out. I don't know how to get on the mailing list for those books, but I really want it. But before I read the new one, I need to read this one, which is Penance. So I loved Eliza Clark's The Boy Parts, like absolutely loved it. Forced everyone in my life to read it. Thought it was so fun. And then I was kind of hesitant to pick up this next one because I've heard that it's like true crime related, and that's really not my thing. But I do think that actually it's going to be more of like a satire of true crime. And because it's Eliza Clark, I know that it's going to be weird. I know that it's going to be written well. I know it's going to be a page turner. So basically this book is about a murder that happened of a 16-year-old girl, and it's been a decade since that murder. And then it is about a journalist kind of putting together a definitive account of what has happened. I want to read everything from Eliza Clark, so this is the next one that I have to read. I've heard also amazing things about this one from people who do have quite similar taste to me. So that one is Penance by Eliza Clark, and I'll be reading it very soon. And then next up we have a couple of fantasy books that I got. So firstly, I got The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I've seen this book around for a long time, and when it was in hardback I was like really tempted because it does have this absolutely stunning cover. But I'm glad I waited until it was paperback. And the reason I finally picked this up is because I read Mark Lawrence's other series, or I've started his other series, the Red Sister books, and I absolutely loved it. So I'm really excited to get to this one as well, because it is set in a library where people, I think, have grown up in this library and have never lived anywhere else. And this library is like bigger than cities. And I think this book starts when when a girl like comes to this library for the first time. So very mysterious. I don't know much about it. I want to go in not knowing much because I do trust this author, because I really did love his other book, which I also need to carry on with. I need to carry on with that series. I need to read Grey Sister because it was so good. And then the final book that I want to talk about is Robert Jackson Bennett's Foundryside. This is also an author that I've recently gotten into. So I read The Tainted Cup by this author recently and really loved it. And then Foundryside is one of his other big, I think this is a series, or at least it's a duology. But this book is a heist style book, and also The Tainted Cup was kind of like a murder mystery investigation one. So I'm excited to see how he does a heist. So you are following a escaped slave as they are trying to like survive basically in this city, and then they are offered the dream job of doing one job to steal this ancient artifact, and they'll be like set for life. But obviously it doesn't turn out to be as simple as that. There's a murderous conspiracy, there's things unraveling. I hope that this is going to be pacey. I hope it's going to be fun. I hope it's going to be adventurous. And I do think it'll be all of those things. So I will be reading this definitely in November or December by the end of the year. So I'm very excited for it. That is Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. And that is all of the books. Let me try and lift them all at the same time and hope that they don't, okay, lean against me books. These are all the, yeah, classic. Let me try and do one lift, okay? So these are all the books that I've been buying recently. So heavy. Thumbnail. So this is a huge book haul that I've done recently. This has been in the last like few weeks. It's not good, like, but it's been fun. Let me know what I should definitely be prioritizing out of this stack, because I'd love to know where to start. And let me know if you think there's some that I shouldn't be reading as well, because I also like to know that as well. And in the comments also tell me anything that you've picked up recently, because I love to know what other people are buying and reading. But that is all from me today. Please remember to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And go and follow me on Instagram, go and join the book club, check out the links in the description, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!